Having trouble with my controls here. Happy Devil's Wednesday. This is the State of the Fan Address, episode 140. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Pucks and Pitchforks blog editor-in-chief, Nick Villano, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. Big day in New Jersey. Nick has flown in from Tampa, Florida. We're somewhere in an undisclosed location. You're silent, Nick. I'm getting a little worried right now because I can't even hear the studio.
Sam, I'm here.
Oh, you're here.
You always talk for like 5 straight minutes when we start the podcast. And the day that I'm here, it's awkward when I'm next to you.
It
silent. You're usually just going on a rant, staring at the white wall. Today you're staring at me going on your rant.
Yeah.
It's going to be a ranting podcast today, though, Sam. I'm angry. I'm smiling because I'm in New Jersey, and I love New Jersey. But I'm angry because I have to watch this godforsaken team every other night.
Oh, I know. As you're ranting, I'm asking if we have any sound. Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah. Steve Tart, he knows I'm in New Jersey. So,
okay.
So he got sound, Sam. This man coming in doing these remote podcasts every week, and then the time he's sitting next to me, he's having a meltdown about it. No. Sam, don't worry. Our podcast is a lot better than the New Jersey Devils power play, which is now last. It's last in the league now.
Wow.
We are worse than the Coyotes. 12%.
Oh, but did you see? Some random guy made a great point and put the stats. I put it up on @Let'sGoDevilsPod on Twitter that going back 40-something years, this power play is the third worst in the last 40 years in terms of power play net because of all the shorthanded goals they've given up. Yeah. It's like at 5.8%. It's really bad.
Sam, so apparently that the Devils can't just be bad, they have to be record-breaking bad. Because last year the penalty kill was one of the worst of all time. 4th worst, I believe, of all time. Sam, of all time, ever.
Yeah.
The stat only goes back to the 1967 season, but still, Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, how are you that bad? And then this year, listen, the penalty kill was always going to progress to the mean. And on top, because that's how special teams works, is usually it at least gets to, even if you're the worst, you usually aren't the worst the next year. You kind of move a little bit up. They had a Ryan Graves. They had Jimmy Vasey. They had Nico Heischer's back for the full year. Great. Penalty kill, about average, maybe a little below average, but much better. This is great. This is so much better than last year. And then the freaking power play is the worst by far.
You shouldn't be throwing that. Did you put down the deposit?
You know what? I'll pay for the damn pillow.
Okay.
We don't even know where we are. They can't find us, Sam. I'm not paying for the pillow. The Devils can pay for the pillow. I will charge them. I will send Josh Harris the damn bill. Sam, I did not. I wanted to write and podcast about a good team, Sam.
I know.
I wanted to talk about a good team, and this is not a good team.
I wish I would have known when I signed up for the Pucks and Pitchforks gig.
Listen, I am fighting with Dom from The Athletic about semantics because his model says we have a 1%. It's December 15th, and we have a 1% chance to make the playoffs.
That's terrible.
One. And no, we're beyond. Jim Carrey had a better chance in Dumb and Dumber than we have to make the playoffs. Sam, what the hell?
That should be a meme. What
the hell? No, we literally the Devils are bad at offense. The Devils are bad at defense. The Devils are bad at special teams. The Devils are bad at coaching, which I'm sure we will get to in a minute. The Devils are they're bad at Twitter. They're bad at Facebook.
They're bad at jerseys.
Sam, how do you put that product on the ice last night? And okay, here. Let's give them a mulligan for last night.
Yep.
Because everybody was sick, right?
Yep.
Blackwood was the sickest, and he was our starting goalie. The one guy you need to play all 60 minutes was the sickest of them all. Call up Mittens. Let Mittens start. Who can at least got a guy who's competent, not competent, but clear in the head. They didn't even tell us what they're dealing with. I don't know. I'm assuming. Since it's spreading like that, it's the flu. That's and we've had flu outbreaks on the team, and the NHL is so worried about COVID that they're like, well, we can't cancel a game because of the flu, guys. Let's come on. You're throwing up in the bathroom all night. You're getting real sick. It's fine. You go out there and play a hockey game, why don't you? So I'm not that worried about the 6-1 score last night, even against the Flyers. It's pathetic and it looks real bad on you, but it's not. The people were like, oh, the effort. Yeah, they're sick. Of course they're not giving effort. The one before that's what worries me. Nashville, all the ones before that. The San Jose game was really bad. When this team, and I was fighting with people today, because they're like, well, they have to play at a 108-point pace to make the playoffs according to this model. Okay. They did that already. They were 7-3-2, a 109-point pace on November 11th. We were riding high. We just beat Florida. We just beat New York, the Islanders. I think that was around the time we took the Rangers to overtime, who ended up being a really good team. We were beating good teams, Sam. We beat the Lightning. There was a couple teams on there that were really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Now, this team is not beating anybody the way they're playing. There's a couple things that I do want to kind of discuss with you. First, I want to start with Jack Hughes. So Jack Hughes returns, and this team was kind of reeling before Hughes got here. And then Hughes gets here, and he goes in, and the team goes in the tank. And then I don't want to say it's not Hughes' fault. That's clearly
no.
The team was on its way there, but it's kind of like where does correlation and causation meet, and where are they separated? I know they said the saying is correlation does not equal causation, right? That's the saying. Yada yada yada. One thing happening and then another thing happening does not mean that they are connected. But the fact that I have a team that still can't find the right chemistry, you clearly gotta put the Johnson, Mercer, Bratt line back together because you
get some continuity.
You keep separating them with other people, and the chemistry is just. I don't want to say it's not there because you're not giving it time to get there, but you already have it somewhere. Then, when Nico comes back, you got to just give him Zaka and then probably VC, I guess. This is where we're at. We're already here.
Yeah.
We're already here. We're like, who's in the top 6? I don't know. I don't know who's in the top 6. I know Bratt deserves to be in the top 6. But then Zaka's been struggling again. He's always going to be streaky. He's going to be a 20-goal scorer that's streaky as hell. That's what he is for the rest of his career. That's a $3 million player. If you pay him more, you're going to regret it. But that's what he is, and if that's where he goes, if he does that from the third line, kills penalties, does that for the rest of his career, makes $3 million every year, I'm happy with it. But to be able to be happy with that, Tim, I need him to not be our leading scorer. I haven't checked the stats lately because it's not what I've been focusing on, but he can't be one of your top offensive guys. He's got to be a compliment. He's got to be a luxury. I need Hughes to start providing offense. I need Nico to provide offense. I need Jesper Bratt to do just a little more. He's fine. He's my least of my complaints, but I need Johnson to really hit it like he was hitting it earlier in the year. I need Dougie Hamilton has just not been good the past 4 games. That's fine. You're allowed to go through a little bit of a slump. Problem is he's doing it when the rest of the team is just in the tank.
Yeah.
And his game scores are terrible. And not terrible. His game scores are terrible compared to where they were earlier in the season. Graves is fine, but he was really good earlier in the season. So when you regress to that mean and nobody to have Ty Smith still in the tank and to have Dougie Hamilton take 2 steps back, Ryan Graves takes 2 steps back, and Dougie Hamilton and Ty Smith is still in the tank. He hasn't pulled himself up from the tank. That's where it starts to really make an impact. Because you have a guy who's making and this is what's going to kill everybody is that, and this is the argument, Sam, where you don't this is the argument on the side of they should fire the coach. They should fire the coach. They should fire the coach. Okay, the guys are making mistakes on the ice. The guys are making brain blunders on the ice. The coach didn't give up a shorthanded goal. That's making a mistake by the power play. The power play system sucks. I'm spitting on you. I'm so angry about it. And I'm sorry about that. But it sucks. The fact that at 5-on-5, they're running around and they're making the other team move and they're making space and they're not doing that when there is extra space and less guys who are going to get tired easier. The fact that they don't do those 2 things at the same time makes no sense. So the coaches aren't getting a pass. They're not. But to say it's all on the coaches is also just stupid. It is a 50-50 split of suck right now.
Yeah.
And I don't, like they say, you can't fire the players. You can fire the players. You can demote the players. You can send a message. They're not sending any message. They haven't made a big move. And they've made big moves in the past to add. They've made big moves to excite. They've made big moves that, even like a chance. But they've never made the big move to change the culture. They haven't made the big move to really jumpstart something. So this is when you got to – I don't know what the big move is. The big move is sending Ty Smith to the AHL. The big move is trading somebody. The big move is firing a coach. Those are the 3 big moves. I don't know which one they should do, but they got to do one of them. They got to send a message. And the message has to come from the top.
That's the thing. And this is what I've been complaining about the entire time, going back to last year and even the year before, where Scotty would just talk me off the ledge. But at some point, it all comes from the top. Mm-hmm. We've done it all. We've changed the coaches. Whistler said if a head coaching change is made, it will be Jack Hughes' 4th NHL coach, and he's only 20. Think about that. We've done that before. We've traded players, flipped for picks. Tom Fitzgerald, give him some credit. He drafts well. He makes good deals. The cap situation is good because you're not tied down to back contracts, although some people are kind of questioning giving Jack Hughes that contract. And I'm like, no. It's called buy low and then sell high. Like you get him at a good rate.
What
right
it's for
now
is cost certainty.
Yeah,
I think the Devils are looking for cost certainty on a player. They're willing to take a risk because it is a risk. And I said this. Jack Hughes probably is worth about $5 million right now. You give him $8 million because you think he's going to be worth $12 million.
Yeah.
So, is he guaranteed to be worth 12? No. But you look at like the Jeff Skinner contract, which is probably the worst contract in hockey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere it's one of them. They waited until he knew exactly how much he was worth the day he was going to get paid, and he got paid all of the money. He regressed from a superior shooting season. So the Devils took a risk. They were like, Jack Hughes is going to get paid. Look at the Jesperi Kotkaniemi from Carolina. They overpaid him, but people are willing to overpay for potential.
Yeah.
So they offer sheeted him. They gave up first round picks. A team would come in and offer sheet Jack Hughes. Would he sign it? I don't know because his brother's here. And that aspect kind of gives the Devils a little bit of negotiating power. But I think the contract's fine. I don't think it's a good contract. I don't think it's a bad contract. I think it's fine. It's fine. This is exactly what I think he should have gotten. So, great. That's fine. I think that the whole 4 coaches and 4 seasons thing, or 3 seasons, whatever you want to say, you're counting Alain Nasreddine as a coach when he was an interim, and there wasn't a change. And Alain Nasreddine's been here the whole time. Yeah,
that's true.
So the philosophy hasn't completely changed. He's had one real philosophy. So Lindy Ruff came in here and he changed some things dramatically, but the biggest dramatic changes came to the defense. The offense and the power play looks similar to what they did under John Hines. Have you noticed that?
Very.
It's a very similar system for the special teams. So he hasn't had to learn a lot of differences. And Jack Hughes was always going to be in a very volatile situation. He started the season. We thought he was going to he could play with Taylor Hall in his first season. Like, that seems like a decade ago, Sam, when we thought that Jack Hughes and Taylor Hall were going to automatically play together. And fast forward 3 years later, now we don't know who he should play with. Because last year he played with Yuri Sharangovich. And he played with Yanni Kokkonen. Kokkonen's clearly not a top-line player or a second-line player. He's just not there. He's a fourth-line player who needs to earn his way back to the third line.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be on the third line tomorrow with Jesper Boquist, but I think they're going to play that line like a fourth line. Then you have 3 centers right now, in Nico, Hughes, and Mercer. And you have to really look at it and say, it's just conceivable that we can do this for 10 years. Can we put one of them on the third line for 10 years, Sam? Mercer's been our best forward for a lot of the season. Can you put that on the third line? How are you going to really balance the lineup? Because the issue, it's great to have those 3 centers, and if you give them each 17 minutes a night, you might help their career out, right? Because they're all going to be sharing time. Nobody really has to carry a load over anybody else. You don't have a Connor McDavid or, a situation with like the Penguins where there's Malkin and Crosby and then kind of a large drop-off. You have 3 really good centers, right? It's a good problem to have, but the problem there is you're going to run out of wingers. Right now you got in the pipeline Alexander Holtz. You got Jesper Bratt who's here and he's very young. You got Sharangovich who's here and is very young. You got Zacco's here and very young. Who else am I excited about? Maybe Graham Clark. I like Graham Clark. Graham Clark is good, but when is he getting to the NHL? He's not ready now. I don't know. He has a lot of intangibles, but it's just like the little things that he has to chisel. But it might take 2 years for him to chisel that. He might need seasoning in the AHL. Nolan Foote was supposed to show a lot more than he has this season. He's been a little disappointing.
Struggling.
Yeah.
No, just like the power play, it went out.
Yeah,
our light went out.
Our light is just like the power play. It's literally out right now. And then, there's There's a couple guys over in Russia, like Arseny Gritsik. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but he's playing in Russia. He's playing really well right now. Again, I'm like pulling at straws to find six wingers. We have to play with VC on the third line right now because we don't really have anybody else. But I'm saying all this. My point is that this not working and like Tatar not working to what we wanted. I don't think he's playing bad, but we're losing, so it's not working. We signed him to a 2-year deal, and we're not good. So it's that part of it says it's not working. So I'm looking at the situation, and I don't understand how to fix it. That's the one thing that's been prevailing this entire time. Is I look at the Devils, and like everybody out there is probably thinking the same thing. You look at the Devils, and I'm like, how do I fix this? And it's like, well, if I fire the coach, let's say they fire Lindy Ruff tomorrow and hire Rick Tocchet. Pretty good coach, right? Is he going to come in here and make this a playoff team? I don't think so.
You would hope he could, but Rick Tocchet. See, there have been four NHL coaching changes, with the exception of Florida. That's a different situation.
Yeah, and they were really good anyway. So they were always gonna.
You look in Vancouver, 4-0-0, Bruce Boudreau. Okay, you're getting instant success. That's great. What other the Flyers? Mike Yeo got there. Now they're scoring.
What are they, 3-2 since him?
Yeah,
they lost the first two, and I think they won 3-0.
Yeah,
but I will say to you that they were always going to bounce back from a 10-game losing streak and win some games. Like once they got the first one out of the way, usually it turns into other wins for a team like that. For a team of veterans, Claude Giroux, Cam Atkinson, Carter Hart, people like that had the talent to at least bounce back. I always thought they were going to bounce back once they won the first one. And then there's one other one that's Chicago. Chicago looks a lot better since they fired their coach. But they were a train wreck defensively, and that's the thing is that they've shown more effort. Chicago was showing no effort in the beginning of the season, and that's why they're getting railroaded. Now you can look at the Devils and say they showed no effort yesterday, right?
Yep.
But I think that was mostly because of the sickness.
I
think in a lot of these games, I think they're showing effort. They're just making mistakes.
Yep.
So you got to figure out how do you fix mistakes. That's not as easy, Sam, to fix how your brain, because that deals with how your brain works. That deals with what you think in the moment. Hockey is such a sport of moments. Every moment and every thought matters. And if you're just not making the right decision in those moments and your thought process doesn't go to the right place, how do you fix that? These guys are built like robots. It's like this happens, then this happens. If this happens, I need to do this. So in the moment, they don't have to think. But in the moment that not thinking turns out for them to make a mistake, your options are to break him down and build him up from the ground up, which you can't do to a Dougie Hamilton. You can't do it to a Tatar. And good luck trying to do that to Jack Hughes. Good luck trying to do that to Nico Hischier. These guys who since birth have been built to be a hockey player. And now they get to the biggest league, the place they've been trying to get to this whole time, and you try to build them from scratch? I don't think it's going to work. And that's the thing. It's not one player. Igor Sharangovich has been scoring a little bit more. So, okay, great. Jack Hughes has been playing well. It's fine. Great. So, there's no crazy change you need to make. Pavel Zacha, like I said, he's been slumping, but he kind of got unlucky at a couple things. He's hit a couple of posts. Jimmy Vesey has looked really good at times. He could provide a little bit more offense, but his penalty killing is crushing it. Michael McLeod has been killing it on penalty kill, and is one of the best face-off men in the league.
Yep.
But his offense is trash this year. It has a lot to do with situationally. He's not being put in the position. But how could you put him in a position to be offensive when you have three centers like Mercer, Nico Hischier, and Jack Hughes? How do you put him in offensive situations ever? And then, so everybody's just kind of like here. Like everybody's at like 40%. Which is like, okay, well, there's nobody to take out of the lineup because everybody's here. Maybe there's a couple of people like, and like excluding like Dougie Hamilton. Because no matter how bad he's been the past couple of games, he's still by far the best player on the team has had. But even like Subban, he's been like 40%. And Siegenthaler had that really good start. Now he's at like 40%. But you can't win with a team of 40%. You're still failing with a team of 40%. It's okay if one night Ty Smith is 40%. You have a couple of guys who are at 60%. And you have a couple of guys at 80%. You win with that. And then if you rotate those players every night, you win with that. I'm not asking for everybody to be superstar level every week, every night, every game, whatever you want to say. I'm asking, you're here every night. Every night you're just like, this is not impressive hockey. This is not exciting hockey. This is not what I signed up for. I was told that we are going to compete in March and April. Yep. I was told that we might not make the playoffs this year. I was okay with that, Sam. I didn't need to see playoff hockey. I needed to see competitive hockey. I needed to see exciting hockey. I needed to have something to look forward to. Do you know what I talk to a lot of national writers. They keep telling me, you have a lot to look forward to.
Yep.
Sam, I've got a lot to look forward to. It's going to be okay.
Little do they know how things work in New Jersey.
I'm squinting because I can't see it anymore, Sam. And then I go back to what a lot of people were saying last year. And I haven't heard this a lot this year, which is surprising. But it's the culture talk. What happens when you build a losing culture? And everybody's like, just watch. Just you wait. Because once a team learns how to lose, it's hard to learn how to win. I was like, I don't know. I feel like every season's like baseball, where it's like you're as good as tomorrow as the next day's starting pitcher, right?
Yep.
Like that's kind of how I was looking at it. But and I've been wrong about a lot, and maybe I'm wrong about this because I'm looking at it and I think like the culture just seems. Like when this team can't buy a win, what are we, 2 of our last 13?
I think we're 2, 8-2.
It's 2 of our last 12.
I go back to when the third jersey was released. So it was after the Tampa game.
Yeah.
It was after the Tampa game. So that's when that's the baseline for me when it all started. So I think they've been 8-2 in the last 12.
Bad, Sam.
And these are bad losses. These are losses are not like they're regular regulation losses.
Let's erase last night. They've still been unwatchable. What the hell am I watching this for?
I agree.
So I was calculating it, and now including last night's game, they've scored, I think it was like 2 goals or less in every loss except for one. That weird, what was it, the Nashville game where they went down 3-0, came back, up 4-3, and then ended up losing 6-4 or something? Who was that? Was that Nashville?
No, it's definitely not Nashville.
Who was that? It's escaping my mind. I can't look it up right now, but everybody knows what game I'm talking about. That was the only game where they scored more than 2 goals. And Blackwood is just not. I'm trying to figure out Blackwood because he'll stop some of the craziest goals in the world
and lets up the easiest shots.
Lets up it reminds me of I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, Sam, but it reminds me of late career Brodeur. Do you remember late career Brodeur, 38-42 Brodeur?
Yeah, I remember.
Where he could still, he had the instincts. So he knew when the guy was going to make the pass, and he knew so he could still go side to side and make the save.
Mm-hmm.
But every so often, it almost seemed like his brain would like float,
mm-hmm.
and like an easy one will go in, and you're just like, oh, what? Like it's almost like his instincts would get those when he was younger, just like on just reaction.
Yeah.
But like the reaction, like the brain wasn't moving as fast.
Yep.
But his instincts were good on seeing the development of plays, so he could make those crazy stops. But that's Blackwood now, who's 24?
24, 25, 24. I think he's 24.
And I don't. What's the answer to that? You're making the big saves, but the small saves are like kind of passing by. How do you practice?
Well, I think when Lindy Ruff said, there were a couple times in his press conferences, he said, we need to get better goaltending. Better goaltending. No question Mackenzie Blackwood has potential. Mm-hmm. But there's the inconsistencies there.
Oh, and now I don't think we've had a podcast since we lost Bernier. But Jonathan Bernier.
Yeah.
Who sounds like...
That
I think it sounds like his career's in jeopardy.
Yeah.
But that's just me trying to put the pieces together based on them saying nothing.
Well, a little bit on that. Did this just recently happen? Last season, he was hurt with the quote-unquote lower body injury. Gets traded to Carolina. Did nothing for them.
They didn't sign him. They traded him in the offseason.
Traded in the offseason?
Okay. That was the Nedeljkovic trade.
Oh, okay.
So they traded Nedeljkovic for Bernier, and they didn't sign him. They traded for his rights.
Gotcha.
That was the trade. That's why everybody, because they got like a third-round pick and Bernier. And everybody's like, why are you trading for a free agent goaltender? And they thought, all right, they're going to overpay Bernier. I keep saying the wrong thing.
Well, regardless, it obviously didn't draw any red flags with the Devils. $8.25 million, 2 years, and then in training camp it was happening, and
yeah, he got dinged up, but he was ready for opening night.
Opening night. Is
there something wrong with I don't want to question something like this, but is there something wrong with what they're seeing? Because if you remember, they let Blackwood play in the preseason.
Yeah,
and he was gone for 3 or 4 weeks, 3 weeks. So,
quote unquote heel injury.
And if there was some nefarious things with other things with it, then it's fine. You can lie to me. I don't care. But if it's true that you just misread his heel X-rays and let him play, what's going on?
Yeah.
And they misread Corey Schneider's medicals a lot, thinking that he could come back. And I don't know how difficult it is to read these hip things. I would imagine it's difficult. The hip is a very complicated, mechanism.
Yeah.
But once it happens more than once, and now you're in this situation again. If he's not going to be able to play this year, they just got this Gillies guy, who hasn't played in the NHL. He's played one game in the NHL in 4 years. He was in the ECHL last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great story. Well, but I mean, if it's that bad, you got the cap space. Just take Hudobin, and then if he doesn't work out, just buy him out. Yeah. I know you're saving Dallas's what on that. But if you really think that this season's salvageable, you hope that Hudobin can come in and find some magic again. I don't know, Sam. I'm
lost too. I think about this day and night, and I want to ask Facebook Live, YouTube Live, do you think about this all the time? How to solve the Devils' problems? Before I got here, the car ride here, I go from the western part of Jersey to the eastern part of Jersey. You're on Route 80. People are cutting you off, potholes here and there, construction zone. The random Pennsylvanian that thinks that the left lane is the slow lane, but really is the right lane. And all I can think about is, how come the power play is giving up that many shorthanded goals? We've been over this before. Why is this vicious cycle keep on happening? Now, this is the kind of losing culture now. From a fan standpoint, from here on out, every October, everyone gets hyped up. You go 7-3-2, something like that, and then bam. And then how do you stop the bleeding?
Yeah.
We're, okay, one losing streak of 3 or 4, okay, you can tolerate that. But several of them, or a one stretch of 15 games winless, you're not going to make the playoffs. You know, you're not going to make the playoffs. Every team has its challenges. Now, look at the Philadelphia Flyers right now. They made the changes. Now they're 3-0.
Well, they're 3-2.
Well,
they lost the first.
Well, games. I don't count that. Right now, they're 3-0.
For argument's sake.
Yeah, but they're 3-0. They took 2 games, but look, I'm surprised the Devils beat them 3-0. But
and it looked bad.
But 3-0, last 3 games, 3-0, looking to go 4-0. Now they're gaining confidence. The Devils can turn it around, but you can't just sit there and just wait for it to happen.
Yeah.
Now, what buttons are pushed by Tom Fitzgerald? Because I don't think ownership group is going to do anything. I think they're going to stick to the plan. They're very consistent with that. I was actually very surprised the whole thing with Ray Shero. And that awkward press conference with Joshua Harris and then interim GM Tom Fitzgerald. But I honestly think that it needs to come from up top, and that's what worries me. Do they know? You know, I love it when owners get involved every once in a while where they say, we've had it. This is unacceptable. I mean, I don't like the micromanaging owners. I like the owners that actually care. And I just think that they've owned too many sports franchises in too many different areas. They own a lot of things.
Can I make one comment on that?
What?
Think about how much of a mess other franchises are.
Yeah.
You got this weird Ben Simmons thing in Philly.
Oh, yeah.
And the team's kind of like floundering because of it. It's really a distraction. They haven't done anything. They haven't come in, put their foot down and said, trade this guy or make him come here. One or the other. They have this weird Crystal Palace sale. Or is it a sale? Is it a sale? Are they selling it? Like,
I don't keep track of that part.
And then they have the Devils, who went on the shopping spree. They still weren't. I think they could have made the playoffs this year, but I don't think that they were one of the 4. I don't know if they're one of the 8 best rosters in the NHL when you consider their age. I think that they're one of the 8 most talented rosters, but you need a lot to make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. How are all of their franchises in this disarray? So maybe it's just coincidence. That's definitely possible.
Well, and here's the other thing,
but their focus is somewhere else all the time.
Well, here is the other thing, Nick. There's another channel I watch on TV. Do you know what channel that is?
Fox Business?
Bloomberg. They seem to be on Bloomberg all the time. Specifically, really? David Blitzer. Yeah. So I would watch. Some of it's kind of PR-ish. Yeah. You could tell, like, okay, they got the spot. Okay, it's nice. You know, they bought Elvis's album, flipped it for $500 million, whatever.
Did they really?
I think Apollo Global, bought the whole Elvis catalog for about $98 million. You have to look it up. I'm just doing it by memory. And then they were surprised, like 10 years later, they flipped it for $800 million or something. It's something ridiculous. I could be wrong with the numbers, so don't quote me on that. But I remember being like, whoa. And then I don't know if it was Blackstone or Apollo. I think they bought Twinkie. Remember when Twinkie, the union, the confectioners union, they were not having an agreement, and finally Twinkie's like, okay, we're going under. And then
I do remember that.
And then
Twinkies almost went away.
And I compare the Devils to Twinkie. I believe it was Apollo, but what happened with Twinkie was this. So they bought this company. Just like a distressed asset is what they would say. They hollowed it out, and then they brought it back to life. It says Twinkie. It looks like a Twinkie. It may smell like a Twinkie, but trust me, for a guy that likes to eat, it does not taste like the old Twinkie.
Yeah. So you think that they cheaped out on a couple ingredients and maybe used a couple less morsels of sugar?
Yeah, and the proper employees that they should have retained are gone. Replaced them with some analytics baker. Who knows?
Yeah. You get rid of the $80,000 old school baker who knows the recipe inside and out.
Yeah.
You bring a guy who's, if you take out. I remember when I was in college, I took a business law class, and this olive company was trying to save some money, so they thought about 100 different ways to save money. Right? They were like, well, if we change the labeling, if we change the marketing strategy, if we change this, if we change that. Do you know what they ended up doing?
What's that?
They took one olive out of each jar of olives. And that saved them so much money that they went from, in the red to in the green. And they were in the red, but taking one olive out. But again, what is that doing? That is taking that olive away from the consumer. And I feel like that's how I feel when I watch the Devils.
Yeah.
I get hockey. I get my favorite team. Has a lot of talent. But you're taking an olive away from me, and I never get a win.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just reading right now. Yeah, it was Apollo and another company. They bought Hostess, the distressed asset, in 2013, right? They basically hollowed it out. They spent $186 million cash to buy some of it. And you know how much they sold it for 4 years later?
How much?
$2.3 billion. Okay? These owners of ours, of the New Jersey Devils, they are geniuses. I'm trying to figure out all day long, in my car ride here, how can you take that talent and somehow translate that into wins?
Mm-hmm.
But like I said before, when you take my Twinkie model, I remember when, Twinkie's back, and I went to the store shelves, Jelly Crimpets. No, that's another brand, but I hate to admit it, I like the sweets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love sweets.
Yeah,
it's not good for me.
I've cut down recently, but
I have not. I need to. But.
Yeah. So I had that first Twinkie thinking, they're back, thank goodness, shove in your mouth. It doesn't even taste like a Twinkie. But it looks like a Twinkie. So that's what I'm saying about the New Jersey Devils. It looks like the New Jersey Devils. It looks like, they play like...
Except when they wear the black jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, the black jersey, look, I don't know what that's about, okay? But best of luck to you in the business side of it. But, but these owners are not stupid people. I just get frustrated with the 76ers, the Devils. What's their problem? And they had their problems with the Sixers.
Yeah.
I mean, they were the laughingstock of the NBA. They were ahead of their time in terms of pushing real analytics. That guy, I think his name is Sam Hinkie, the GM, gets fired. The NBA got involved. Colangelo's got in trying to teach them how to run an NBA team. All that. They did a great job. I'm wondering.
Well, he's not there anymore.
Oh, I know the burner account, all that. I didn't want to go there, but yeah.
Because they got Daryl Morey now. It was one of the most.
But the NBA got involved because they were worried about tanking, and they were worried about all that. And that's where the trust the process came about. They hired Scott O'Neill. Scott O'Neill's no longer around. They hired Thad Brown from the Houston Rockets. But at some point, is it going in one ear, out the other? Because if I was David Blitzer and Joshua Harris, I mean, I'd be throwing laptops and, I mean, heck, there's a lot. There's a helicopter pad on top of the Prudential Center. I beeline it right there and step into Tom Fitzgerald's office and demand what's the action plan.
Yeah, I'm always curious of what actually went down with Lou at the end there. Because the thing that I don't hear people talk about a lot is that when the owners took over the Devils, they said one of the reasons why they really liked the situation is because Lou was there. And Lou could, because they were asking him, you don't know hockey, what makes you want this? Well, we have Lou here. And Lou's been here a long time, and Lou knows hockey better than anyone. And then it was what? So I think they bought them in 2013, and then Lou was gone by 2015. Is that what it was? Am I on the right timeline?
Yeah.
So it wasn't 2 years later that he was gone. Was that my best guess is that Lou wanted another challenge, and he was spinning his wheels at the Devils. And it just kind of.
I have a theory.
Okay.
Again, we have to preface this. This is a theory with no evidence. But just judging by what I see from the outside, I'm making up a story here. This is what I think would happen. All right, they get there. Yes, we bought the team. We've got the greatest GM. Then they realize the greatest GM doesn't fit in their business plans. Because marketing, using Twitter, all that stuff, right? You know how Lou used to be, opening up the press box. So they thought to themselves in the first year, because they bought the team in August of 2013. Is it 2013? Yeah, because it was after the Devils Cup run, then the lockout, then whatever. So they didn't have time to plan. So they sat there, and they were probably like, all right, we're going to observe how this all works. Lou, you do what you need to do. Didn't work out. You had Michael Ryder. You had all weird stuff. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So they're probably thinking.
Was that Ryan Clough? Was that
yeah. Probably. So they're probably thinking to themselves, okay, not working out. Another year of Lou. Who is this guy? He's not winning. He's telling us there's only one general, but why is he down on the ice with two assistant coaches? Right? So they probably started talking to other people around the league. Hey, there's guys in Pittsburgh. They did wonderful for us. Oh, yeah, all right. Because they, have a little ownership group of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I don't think they had that then, but
no,
I think that's relatively. But maybe they know people in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the Rooney family, whatever. So this is my theory. All right. How do we get our guy in? But you can't just kick out Lou. So probably in the rumor mill, Brendan Shanahan was like, hey, I need a GM. I'm trying to do the impossible here in Toronto. So he calls up Joshua Harris. Hey, Josh, this is Brendan Shanahan. I'm the president of, Toronto Maple Leafs, blah, blah. And Joshua Harris is like, you have my permission. Just take him.
Because they got a third-round pick.
Yeah.
For Lou.
Yeah. So, and who would that amount to? Nobody?
Fabian Zetterlund or something. I don't know.
Oh, who knows? So, that's my theory of how that all happened.
I can find this out. You keep going.
Well, yeah, I gotta check these comments out. We're live somewhere in beautiful New Jersey, talking puck. We never take a shift off here on the State of the Fan Address and Let's Go Devils podcast. Let me tell you, because that one day where yours truly, Nick, had to go somewhere, we didn't do the podcast. I was almost shocked. Shocked. But then again, we were overloaded with the scheduling, that day. Devil's new t-shirt, Be Patient. Steve Tardos, it's back in the Primetime Radio studios right now. My beautiful wife did one of those iron-ons for me. I just watched and supervised, right? But she did a great job. Yeah, so that's my theory. And you know what? I want nothing best for Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment. I want them to make a ton of money. I want this to be a success story. But I just want wins at this point. They've got all the pieces in place, but I think they need somebody to drive it, to put it all together. I don't know if it should come from ownership group. I'm only saying it should come from ownership group for one reason. We've tried everything. We ousted our longtime GM. We've ripped it down. We've drafted. We had Ray Shiro, proven GM. We have Tom Fitzgerald, great career, learned from Ray Shiro. John Hines comes in. He's doing very well in Nashville right now.
Mm.
You know, I just don't think that it's not the talent, because remember who we kicked out? David Conti. David Conti leaves the Devils. Now he's got a chip on his shoulder, and he got the Golden Knights to get into the Stanley Cup Finals in their first year. It was David Conti that was behind the scenes there. So it's very awkward that anybody that leads the New Jersey Devils has success elsewhere. I think Lou had success in Toronto. Toronto couldn't even make the playoffs, even if they try to buy their way in, right? So Lou was part of that. He gave them structure. He gave them something called discipline, because in the Toronto media market, it is very, very competitive. It is very cutthroat. But Lou could handle that. And then now Lou's in on Long Island, and they have their problems. But last year, hey, they went far in the playoffs. They also went far in the playoffs, during the bubble pandemic playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, this team should be doing a lot better. I don't want to point fingers, but my goodness, I would love to see some kind of changes and start holding everybody accountable, because I think that's the problem. I think they need to start pointing fingers at each other, because it seems like they don't do that. Saying, "Hey, I don't know."
I don't know what the answer is, Sam. And that's been the most frustrating part about, especially the writing side of this.
I'm sure.
It's just like, I don't have the answers. Do I put a positive spin on everything? Do I put a negative spin on everything? It seems like this is where we're at. We're right. We've drawn a line in the sand. And the positive people just stay quiet. And the negative people are louder than ever. And a lot of people want to just tell you, I told you so.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you, I think it was you who said, or I don't remember what it was, but somebody was telling me that they liked the Ruff signing. And I was like, I hate it. And, it's like, we'll give it a chance. Because it was pretty universally panned, right? Nobody really liked it. Now, I liked it last year. Got the best out of McLeod, got the best out of Miles Wood, got the best out of a lot of guys. Jack Hughes is better. But he was dealing with a team that got hit by COVID, a team that wasn't very good, a team that's
no practice time,
no time to put in your system. Ty Smith looked really good. There was a lot of things that were big positives last year. So coming into this year, I'm like, okay, there's a couple of things with bad luck. The Wood injury is bad luck. The Hughes injury was bad luck. The goalies haven't been able to get healthy. But even when they're healthy, they're not good. And even when the team is healthy, they're not playing well. They're playing fine most nights and bad others.
Mm-hmm.
Since that, there was that one Philly game where Philly just didn't look good. I don't even think we played that well. But Philly looked so terrible.
Yeah.
Philly almost got back into that game. We're only up 2-0. And then we scored the empty netter. I don't have an answer, Sam. That's what's scary.
Yeah.
Because maybe that means nothing happens. They just figure it out.
Yeah.
More than likely, that means Something needs to happen for them to figure it out. They didn't do anything today. So I don't know.
Tomorrow we're going to the game, right?
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't get ugly.
And if you're at the game, I will be in section 15. Come say hi. I want you to come say hi. Don't say anything mean because my father-in-law will be there and he'll punch you. But he won't really punch you. He's a very nice man. But I'll punch you. But what am I going to see? Sam, it's been years since I've seen a home Devils game. I've never been amongst my people to see a Devils game in years.
I don't know what you're going to see. You're probably going to see the black jersey.
That was a black jersey tomorrow night?
Oh, no, but you're going to see it in the...
I'm going to see some...
All you're going to see is Adidas, black jersey, PK Subban just cover the entire wall. Don't tell me a marketing person didn't decide that one at Adidas.
But it's such a... I love Subban. I do. I'm one of the few Subban... I still like having Subban on the team. To only have the Subban jersey when you got Dougie Hamilton, Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, all these people, even the people love Sharon Govich. You have all these likable players that people want, and the only jersey you're selling is Subban. Weird.
Well, this is what I was thinking. The marketing genius that thought about the product placement in the Devil's Den. They probably figured, look, we got to make. We're in it for 3 years with this black jersey. Subban's only got a few more months left off of his contract. We got to get that inventory out the door immediately. Otherwise, it's going to become.
But it wasn't selling. Did you see that? It was. It was. I mean, from what I saw, every time I saw pictures of it, it was front to back, full racks. You know what I mean? This isn't. This did not sell as much as they want it to seem like a marketing success. And it was always going to sell. If you give me something new for my sports team, people are going to buy it. But the reverse retro was impossible to find. It was like a PlayStation 5.
Yep.
You couldn't get one. Let alone get a Hughes one.
Yeah.
You couldn't get one. People were on Twitter telling you when a Modell's had it in stock.
Yep.
It was the PlayStation 5.
Yep.
Yet, this one, they're calling it a success because, some of the online stores sold out. People were fighting for the reverse retro. People love new things. People love ingenuity. But then sometimes, it just... The way they did it just fell flat a little bit. I felt like they marketed it they just didn't click the right way. And that's this team, right? It's great. They gave us a black jersey. We've been asking one for years. They had the reasons for tying some history into it just to tell a cool story, and that's great. And then they changed the logo.
And that is sacred territory. That is something the fans had no input on, mind you. And I think that's where they screwed up.
I mean, listen,
everything else was fine. Everything else was fine. I didn't care. Honestly, I thought the history was great. I thought
the stripes were great. I thought the coloring of the numbers and the name is great. The black is great. Everything pops just the right way. And then they turn around, and you're like, just turn back around. It's just not good.
By the way, I don't know. It's also hard to watch on TV, the game, with those jerseys on. I find it to be distracting.
Okay.
My wife kind of makes you dizzy after a while.
Really?
Yeah. I can see her point of view, actually, because I was like, well, maybe that's why I have a headache.
Do you think they test that?
I don't know. Because, the Blackhawks had something similar, right?
Yeah.
So, But you're also thinking, with the puck being black itself, and with those new
and how it contrasts to white ice. Like it's one thing to have a black jersey, like the Raiders jersey in football, or like a black jersey in baseball, but it's such a contrast to white ice.
I'll tell you what, though, if you're playing the NFZ like you're supposed to, and the puck's loose and nobody can find it, that's when those jerseys come in handy.
Yeah, you just put your black glove next to it.
Yeah, exactly. Replays are going to be even tougher. Who knows? But all joking aside, again, we're stuck with them. I know Scotty and I made a pact, not going to watch the game. Devils Hockey Network, Chico and Matt. That's the way we're going to go.
Okay.
Because it's just, I don't know, anytime you mess with the logo, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
All they had to do is put a white and black Devils logo in front with some style.
Yeah.
And that would have been probably...
They could have just inverted the color.
That could have been a perfect jersey.
Yeah.
But instead, I think they were overthinking it, and it was more marketing than fan-friendly. Or the fans had no input into it. That's the problem.
I think they wanted it to be a surprise. But they even screwed up the surprise because they sent it out. They mailed it to a person.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that? You screw up the surprise.
I thought that was done on purpose.
Maybe.
The leak.
But again, that's stupid.
Again, I hate fake leaks. Like, I want the juicy stuff, that it gets leaked out, on pucksandpitchforks.com. I want the juicy stuff.
Well, I didn't leak it. I just wrote about the leak.
Yeah.
I commented on the leak. But I don't know, Sam.
Well,
here's the thing. Lindy Ruff is here for one more game. That is absolutely true. He's not getting fired tomorrow. Mark Recchi's not getting fired tomorrow. They're not trading somebody tomorrow. Today was the day if they were going to do something to send a message, today was going to be the day they were going to do it. And the issue is that you don't want to, if you're going to send a message, the only message they could send is sending Ty Smith down to Binghamton or to Utica. And I don't think they're going to do that either.
Well, this is, again,
they've tried benching players, and that's worked once.
I will tell you, Nick, you follow the pattern. 5 p.m. tomorrow, something's going to happen. And there's going to be this simultaneous press release, and you're scrambling. That's what happened with Ray Shiro. That's what happened with John Hines. It happened out of nowhere around 5 o'clock. That's why tomorrow when we're at Todd's Lounge 973 for pregame, for Game Day Live.
Yeah.
I'm going to get there a little early to set up because I have a feeling something's going to happen. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Because it's always a surprise now. Like, everything has to be a surprise. It's like, oh, Nico Heischer's coming back. Finally going to be in the lineup. And then
get the clicks.
And they get the C. And then Jack Hughes. Okay, he's back from his shoulder. Oh, we got him 8 years, 64 million and all that. And hearing David Blitzer talk about it, it almost felt like he was a kid in the candy store. But it almost felt like that was his prized possession Ferrari that he just purchased, more than this is going to help the team and this is how we're going to build it, yada, yada, yada. But then again, is what Scotty says, I'd rather hear from Tom Fitzgerald than the owners. The owners are going to be the owners, But
that's all I got, Sam.
Yeah.
We yelled for an hour.
Yeah,
did it feel good? Did you feel like you got something out?
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of things out.
So, I'll do a promotion a little bit. So, if you go to Pucks and Pitchforks right now, you'll see I haven't advocated for the Lindy Ruff firing, but in case it happens, I've talked about 5 people who are out there right now to replace him. Like, right this second, you could get this guy, theoretically. And those are your options. That's what's out there. There's going to be an article tomorrow kind of talking about what it would look like for the Olympic break and how that would impact the Devils, how that would impact the Prudential Center, because there's talk about the players not going to the Olympics and what that would do with that 3-week break in February. So I talk about that. or sorry, 2-week break in February. And you know, we got a couple other pieces up there, so we're gonna have more. There's more. You know, we're in New Jersey, so I don't know what's coming. Whatever comes, it comes, right?
Yeah.
But we got a couple other pieces coming. But you got that one for today. You got the other one for tomorrow. Go to pucksandpitchforks.com. Go to the Twitter at pitchforkpuck. I'll be saying a lot of things. And like the Let's Go Devils Facebook page. There you go.
Wow.
Get a little Twitch subscription.
Yeah.
Let's Go Devils on Twitch. Go subscribe to the Twitch.
Yes. All right. Well, we can't hear the music from the studio for whatever reason, but I'm going to cue it up. I want to thank all those listening in, watching in, dropping the podcast at midnight. See you tomorrow at Tom's Lounge 973.
I'll be there. Come see me.
Till next time, let's go Devils.